Hello friends, today I am going to give a short lecture on Derrida's theory deconstruction. Deconstruction is a theory about language and literature and was developed in 1970s in large part as a reaction to the primacy of French structuralism and a repressive academic and intellectual system that rigidly administered a unique and definitive interpretation of literary text. Deconstruction designates the philosophy of Jacques Derrida, which is a strict analysis of language in the philosophical and theological text. What most characterizes deconstruction is its notion of textuality, a view of language as it exists not only in books but in speech, in history, and in culture, especially the written language. Now, deconstruction seems to be easily misinterpreted with the word destruction, but it was not something which Derrida had propounded in a destructive way. Rather, without deconstruction, we cannot read anything that is there in this era of post-truth in the age of postmodernism. We have to look beyond the gaps, the fissures, and the absences in a text, whether the text is a literary one, political one, or a social one. Now, there are certain concepts in deconstruction which we need to remember with deep concentration, and those are the idea of differ and to defer. Now, what is to differ and to defer? For beginners, they have to first focus on the idea of to differ and to defer. That means to understand deconstruction, one has to know and understand the system of binary opposition. But in Derrida, the binary opposition does not itself end a text. It means that the meaning has to be deferred till futurity, because in future there may be a new meaning to the deferred idea. Now, for example, Derrida takes certain texts of famous writers, say for example Rousseau, to point. Derrida's close reading of Jean-Jacques Rousseau clearly shows the relation between writing and language, which Derrida marks with the expression of supplementation in the text. Writing can thus be seen as a dangerous supplement. A supplement is something that is necessary, a sign of a sign taking the place of speech already significant. So when there is no speech, there is writing, and writing is the absence of speech, of active speech. Now, deconstruction is vigilantly seeking out aporias, blind spots, or moments of self-contradiction in the text that involuntarily betray the tension between the rhetoric and logic, what the text says, and what it is intended to mean. Derrida argues that logocentric interpretative interest in theory and philosophy is widely held and contradicted by the West, as this somehow reveals the Western belief of the metaphysics of presence. Now, what is logocentrism? Logos means center, and logos means meaning, and centrism means something or a study which is based on meaning. But for Derrida, meaning is not fixed. So Derridian world looks into deconstruction of logocentrism, and that's why it was not accepted initially by the Western metaphysics. In the English-speaking world, deconstruction has had a major impact on literary theory and criticism, with flow-on effects in the social sciences resulting from the narrative and textual turns in those disciplines. In these contexts, deconstruction can be understood as a theory and a method of reading and analytical inquiry which seems to undermine the logic of opposition within texts. Now, suppose if I say I love the color black, that doesn't mean that I am colorblind. The meaning of I love the color black may have different significations. For example, I may love the word of the written, the color of the written word. The print is always in black. Of course, nowadays we have colorful significations, but black is the color of the written word, and that's why I love the color black may first begin with the meaning that it has a literary significance. It means the love for literature or love for the written word. Now again, the color black may also be the color of ignorance. Now if I say I love the color black, that means I love ignorance in order to create light for the ignorant ones. So there may be different meanings and different context if I say I love the color black, and it may also mean that I'm not a racist or just the opposite of it. Now, Derrida provides clear examples of his deconstructive activity, which turns the text in traces of more text in opposing speech as unmediated firstness of presence. For Derrida, writing is the supplement in the absence of the writer's speech in presence. For Derrida, there is nothing outside the text. In original French, Derrida wrote, "Language is a constant movement of differences, and everything acquires the instability and ambiguity inherent in language." Derrida suggests that the dyadic sign model, sign and signifier of Saussure, is responsible for generating the aporias of structuralism. He further objects to a tradition that presents a simplistic, deterministic view of human signification. Derrida's critique is governed by the metaphor of generalized writing. Now to end, Logos is the truth whose manifestation is in the world. Derrida's critique of the sign underpins his theory of deconstruction. The violent hierarchy between speech and writing from Plato to Saussure preoccupied Derrida's deconstructive activity in exposing Western discourse with the obsession of speech as presence and writing which marks a fall. Now the famous texts of Derrida are of grammatology, structure, sign and play, in structure, sign and play, and many others. Thank you.